with a dream, my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame excess. Am I gonna fit in? Jumped in a cab, here I am for the first time. Look to my right and I see the Hollywood sign. This is all so crazy. Everybody seems so famous. My tummy's turning and I'm feeling kinda homesick. Too much pressure and
I was really surprised. The plates are really big and also the food is a lot. I can't finish that. And so during the first 3 months of my arrival, I was practicing under yoga way of eating. So I gained like 15 pounds in the first 3 months. And then I had to reduce it again. After that, I ate less.
My first cultural shock was when I went to food service, school cafeteria. I was so surprised about the size of the plates because they were double sized what we use at home. And so at first I was surprised. I didn't know how I was going to fit all the food in the plate in my stomach because I am used to putting a lot of food in the plate. Since the plate was so big, I didn't know how to eat that all. I ate all my food and that's how I gained 16 pounds in 2 months. It was a very depressing period because I thought that I was immune to gaining weight. Apparently I was not. Then I tried to lose weight.
I saw that people ate potatoes here with the skin, with the peel, and that was really weird. Well, then I got used to it and I love it now. Then I also had another cultural shock with the size of the dishes on the side of the silverware, like the spoons. They were really big. The teaspoons here are like almost the spoons that I used to eat normally at home. So they are gigantic. But it's good. I can fit more food there.
Until now, I cannot still not finish a dish that I order from the restaurant. I always feel so full when I'm halfway done with the dish. And I think it's one of the culture shock because people in here eat pretty much way much more than people in my country do.
My teacher took me in a Mexican restaurant, I think, or it was just a regular American. I don't remember. Anyways, and then we ordered food, and here comes this huge plate. And I thought, oh, maybe it's a cultural thing that people are supposed to eat from the same plate. Not really. It was for me. I was like, how am I supposed to eat that?
Yeah, I agree.
It was big. Yeah.
I like the food in restaurants. They bring a lot, so I can eat. And sometimes if I go with other people, they don't finish it, and I can get to eat what they
I can't really say that I had a lot of culture shock when I get here, but one of the major shocks I have, even if it's not like culture shock, it's first of all the weather, because back home we never ever have warm nights. Like it's always warm in the day and very cold, very cold at night. So here, when I first got here, it was summer, so the nights were all warm, and it was so weird because I've never experienced that before.
When I first came to Berea, I think it was more of a weather shock than culture shock because one day it's snowing and right on the next day it's so sunny and hot, and I don't think I'm used to this weather shock yet. I'm still going through this weather shock.
with a dream, my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame excess.
I think the main shock I had was on how to deal with people, because like the concept they have with friendship and acquaintance here is really different from my country. For example, back home, if you have talked to someone once, or if that person is in your class, or if you just by some means know that person, then it's so normal that you would say hi to that person when you run into him or something. But here, like basically even now, like I don't really know the boundary or the limit of saying hi to someone all the time or not saying hi to someone all the time or things like that. So I think the social interaction part is one of the major culture shocks I had.
The first time I got here, I noticed that while people go into the house, they don't take off their shoes. But in my country, when we go into the house, we take off our shoes. It is like a sign of respect. You clean yourself, like put them in a specific place, tidy and neat, and then you go into the house, something like that. But here, people don't take off the shoes. They just walk around the house with the shoes on. So I find it really interesting. And the other one is it's about the people. In my country, the people are very considerate of how you're going to feel and think. For example, they want to ask for help, but they will think a lot about how you might feel if they ask you help, if you will be able to do it, or if you are going to feel uncomfortable or not. So they might not go out and ask you for help or something like that. But here, when people want something, they will ask you directly. And if you say yes, then yes. And if you say no, then they are just okay with that too. And so in my country, if you want to offer something, you have to offer it more than once, like 2 or 3 times, until they say yes. The 1 or 2 times they refuse, it's just the cultural thing that they are refusing. So it's also interesting.
One more about academics is that here they are very focused on due dates. So they put a due date and you have to finish by that time, and it's like they are very punctual on times and everything. And it's different from my country. If you say something like at a specific time, you go there and other people show up like half an hour later. Sometimes they just don't show up, or they can appear to your house anytime they want without even telling you. It's really annoying. Yeah.
My other cultural shock was to see that people were actually very friendly in Korea. People hug to each other. I was expecting that everybody would be calm and serious, nobody would touch you, but people hug. So I'm very happy that there is that human warmth here in Korea.
In Berea College, when I first came here, one thing I noticed at the very beginning is how the students are so friendly with the professors, and actually some of the professors preferred to be addressed by their first names, and that is not at all familiar to me because we always address the professors or teachers as sir or ma'am or doctor or something. And recently I experienced an interesting event. We were in a class in an academic setting, and I was sitting in the front row. I always sit in the front row. And the professor was looking for a pen, and she just told me that, oh, I see you have a pen, just toss it to me. I cannot just toss the pen to her. I mean, she's my professor. I just stood up, walked up to her, and then gave her the pen. And she was like, oh, Moon, you're always so disciplined and modest, but that's just how I am. That's how I see the professors. I cannot treat a professor as a friend or in an informal way. It's just the way it is in my country, and that's how I was brought up. So this is one thing that came to my mind first when I think about culture shock.
Here, the public display of affection is really widespread. So you can see the couples like kissing and holding hands is common in my country, but kissing and like hugging and those kinds of acts is very common here. But in my country, we don't usually those physical signs of emotions, so it's a little different. Yeah. So this is one of the culture shocks that I get here.
It was when all the other American students came to the dorm and they had lots of stuff. They brought a lot of stuff with them to the room. When it came to the US, because of the airline restrictions, I had only two suitcases, and I felt like I had everything with me. But when I saw all the girls come into the dorm with no like 5 or 6 or 7 suitcases and boxes and all the other hangers and stuff. I was really overwhelmed, and I felt pretty like, oh, I'm so small, I'm so lonely, like they are so different from me. That's my very first culture shock. Maybe because of the very hectic schedule that people often are very busy with their own life, and we don't have much time to interact with each other. And even from the first year, from my freshman year in college until now, things have changed a lot. Like we no longer have a lot of time to hang out with friends anymore. Everyone has assignments, homework, clubs, activities, and other events to plan to attend, and something like this. So it is something that is very different from what I experienced in my country, because back home we can hang out whenever we want, pretty much. Like at the night time, it's time for hanging out and having fun. So we just gathering and went out and eat and chattering around, so much fun. But in here, especially in Burial Bubble, not really.
Another thing that I found shocking in my experience here during my first days is the cost of medical health care in the US. I had a small problem with dehydration during the first day that I was here. And then I had to go to the hospital, and they took me in ambulance to a different hospital, and I stayed there one night, and they had to do an endoscopy, which is not an operation but a surgery. But it's just like, well, at the end my bill was around $13,000, which luckily the insurance from the college covered about half, a little more than half. So, but that was shocking that they charged a lot for that. Just the ambulance was like $1,000, and they send you a different bill every time. That for every different service that you receive, you get a different bill instead of paying just one bill to the hospital. And they take care of the bill, and that was the good thing about that, is that they are not so, they don't press you to pay so much as in my country they would. But still, it's very expensive. But you have flexibility in payments, and they can give you more time if you need. For example, in ways that you have to pay, you can ask for more time, like an extension of time. You can pay monthly part of the bill, so they every month they reduce the amount that you pay. You can also pay in full. Usually that's harder. Or you can usually apply to financial aid from the same hospital, and if they accept you, they would reduce the bill, or they can cancel it altogether, which is good. So there is always, if there is a problem like that, it's always good to ask what are the options.
So first was Jonesville, Wisconsin is absolutely beautiful, amazing place. But the first thing that really amazed me was the fact that houses don't have fences whatsoever. Back home, you can't see the house. It's like the walls are so huge around the yard or whatever, you know what I mean? But the houses here are just beautiful, small, modest houses without huge fences. You can see people inside, you can see pretty much this world. And you know what makes me feel like they really trust each other. And when I was growing up, I used to think that this is the way it should be. That's the way houses must be protected, and like people have these, wires and everything. It was really. When I got in Berea and we had our first test, I was not done on time. Being international takes double time to understand vocabulary and everything, especially with my English. I mean, at the time it was even worse. And my teacher gave me a paper and sent me to another room and said, once you're done, you bring me a paper. And I was so amazed. Like, people back home literally stand with guns to look at you and make sure you don't cheat. And this trust, I really appreciate it. It's amazing.
dress with a dream, my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame excess. Am I gonna fit